I just want to emphasize this. I am not a mechanic. I do not know what I'm doing. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. Good morning. We got home last night. It was probably 10:30 after we dropped the trailer and all off. Today's the day we're going to start working on this truck. I need to crawl under there and see if there's any numbers I need to give them when I order this, or when I go up there. I'm hoping they have this clutch in stock. So we're going to buy the clutch. We're going to buy the, there's 2 bearings in there. There's an air hose I need to replace while it's out. And there's a couple other things I need to check once we pull it out if they need to be replaced. So anyways, I didn't show you guys this yet, but we had these lights in our old shop. And they've just been kind of sitting around since we built this shop. So last week before we left out, I went ahead and ran 5 on this side. And then my plan is to run the other 5 on the other side, because it kind of feels like the corners are kind of dark at times. So I ran out of clips. I had to order new clips and all new, some more wires. But I think what I'm going to do is instead of dragging my flashlight under there and having to worry about if it's going to die or not, I'm just going to stick 1 or 2 of these under there. And then just plug it in and we'll have, we should have some decent light under there. So another reason I'm putting these up is I'm hoping that these lights up top will stop the flickering that these give. Because I never had flickering with these when I recorded in my other garage. So that's the hope with that too. That's honestly the main. Or else I could just order some more of these and maybe run a couple more on the back here. I mean, I'm just being picky at this point, honestly. I mean, it's not really that dark over there, but there are a couple of shadows or whatever. And I'm hoping those will take care of it. But that's going to have to wait till after we work on this truck. So basically what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to pull these seats out. Because we have to pull this floor back to get access to a hole here to get to the top of the transmission to be able to unplug everything and unbolt the top part of the transmission from the motor. I mean, you probably don't have to, but I hear it makes everything so much nicer. Another thing I'm going to have to do, or I'm going to have to try to do, is maybe take this step off so I can get under here easier. But that doesn't look like that's going to be easy. It looks like there's a lot to this step. It's connected to this plastic piece, which is connected to this, which is, I mean, I guess that's all one piece. And then I've got these 2 bars that, like, I don't know if they're tank supports or what, but I've got 2 bars underneath there that makes getting under this thing an absolute nightmare. So I'm going to try to take those bars off and then get to working on this thing. I woke up this morning, 125 pounds of air in the truck. Oh, I didn't tell you too, like that one night. Oh, I never showed you guys that tire they put on here too. The guy misled me too. He told me it was pretty much a brand new tire that's just been regrooved. And that's what he gave me. I mean, it's been regrooved. But I don't know. Might order some tires. With me doing this transmission myself, it'll save me enough money. I can order me some new tires if everything goes well with the transmission. On the way home, I didn't realize it. My buddy called me. I didn't realize Monday was going to be a holiday. So this works out absolutely perfect. I mean, if we weren't sitting at home, we'd be sitting at a truck stop for the weekend. Today's Friday. So anyways, let me crawl under there, see if I can find some numbers off of the transmission. And then we need to run up. I need to get a transmission jack. It's crazy I don't have a transmission jack. I've just never really needed it. I've needed it, but I've just never really used one. Normally, I don't mess with transmissions normally. That's some voodoo that I don't understand. But this clutch replacement should be pretty simple, I hope. It'll just be a little time consuming. Anyways, we'll get the numbers off there. We're gonna go get the bearings, and then we're going to, I gotta run to Harbor Freight, get a transmission jack, and then we'll get to working on this thing. All right, so we're back. Before I left out, I pulled the truck up on some wooden blocks, and I'm able to get through there with the creeper, so I don't think I'm gonna be taking that side piece off. Anyways, we went up to Harbor Freight. They had this tool cart on sale, so I bought it. It was only like 50 bucks. And then we got an 800-pound capacity. The video, I don't know if I mentioned this. I watched a guy do this, and this is what kind of gave me confidence to do it. He bought the 2,000-pound, and how much more was that? Like $100? But the transmission is only 650 bucks. So I bought that. Then we went up to Fleet Pride. Fleet Pride does not have the clutch. Then we went up to Worldwide here in Valdosta, and their quote was $3,352. So I jumped online, found the clutch for it was like 1,500 bucks before shipping and tax. I think it ended up being like 1,800 bucks. I bought the 2-day shipping, but like I said, Monday's a holiday, so it's probably going to be here like Tuesday, which will give me time to go ahead and pull this out. So what we have to do now is we have to drain all the air out of the tanks because I have to pull the seats out of the truck. And then we already have the battery shut off. So we'll pull the seats out, get to the top of the transmission, pull the cap off under this rubber mat. And then I got to pull the drive shaft out, and then we'll start on this transmission. So let me get this air drained. I should probably put this stuff together. And let Lita pull this transmission for us.
You want me to take these mats out and stuff?
Yeah, we'll have to take all that out. All right. Quick update. We got the drive shaft dropped. We pulled the seats out. My seat is an aftermarket seat. So whoever put that in was a moron, because the factory seats use these holes here. That one, you can see the bolt. I don't know if you can see, but the bolts are still in. So what they've done is they just bolted this bracket to the bottom with some nuts on the bottom, I think. Or they use nut certs, I'm not really sure. Anyways, they're just spinning. I can't get this bracket off. So we just went ahead and took Lita's seat out, and we're gonna pull this rubber mat back now. Can we pull that out from underneath there? And then kind of flip this back, and then this is the plate that you have to take out. We need to keep these spacers here.
This isn't our dog here, by the way.
Yeah, this is when we got this truck, it was pretty filthy with hair. Can you pull that front back towards you? Just pull it out from underneath of that little foot thing. Pull it back kind of toward me without ripping it. Try to pull it from the bottom. Yeah, like that. Now we'll fold this back, fold yours back, and we can get to this plate. You take these screws out, and then you can get to the top of the transmission here.
Don't you think we should like vacuum that stuff out before we might get in the transmission?
No, it's not like there's a hole in the top of the transmission, baby.
Well, if we try and pry it from this side.
And I don't even care if it just snaps off of there. Can we just turn it maybe? Is that black light in that door?
No.
So there's 2 plugs up here that we have to unplug. You don't have to worry about getting them mixed up because they'll only go into one spot. Where's that flathead screwdriver I brought in? Right here. That's one. That's 2. I tried to take these off a long time ago when I was checking all the connections, and I couldn't get them off from down below. Because they say they can corrode. Come on, get off there. Man, why won't it release? I can't get it to release. That one released. Oh, maybe I did because there's dielectric grease in there. This one does not want to come off. There it goes. Alright, so we've got those 2 plugs. This gives you access to, pointed at the engine block, Lita. There's some bolts at the top of the transmission here. We have to take some of these brackets off to these hoses. We have to take, I think this is a coolant line. Yes, we'll have to take this bracket bolt off. We'll have to take that bracket bolt off. We can loosen the bolts up from here. I know there's a plug over here that you can get from the bottom, but I think I can get it from here. I gotta take this hose off. Let's plug that thing in.
Alright, so we got all the plugs and stuff disconnected from the top. Now I moved back down around the bottom, and you've got one more little clip under here that goes right here to this. I've already unplugged it, but I want to show you. There's a clip right here on the side, and there's a little white tab that you have to pull out, and then you can push down on this little tab and then pull this out. And now we have to disconnect anything that's connected to the transmission, like this here and this here, and then we'll tie these back out of our way. We're going to put the transmission jack under here, and then we're going to start loosening all of this. Well, shit. As I cut open that transmission jack box,
but you're not going to be able to pick that thing up.
You want these big ones?
Yeah, the bigger, probably. Not the thick ones, but the longer of the ones. Let me see what you got. Just give me what you got. Man, these cutters keep getting in my way. God dang it. Hey, if you can't do it, you can't do it. Don't kill yourself. Okay? I'll do it. I'm so glad it just knocks all the dirt down in your face. Man, this jack does not want to roll. Why won't it roll? Am I stuck on something?
No?
Oh shit. It rolls now. All right. I think it's all right. We slowly bring it down. This chain's fucking me now. All right, check it out. Transmission is out. Look at all this red dust. You grab me that flashlight up there, Bebs? Whew, this is not an easy job to do. I don't know if that's rust or dust from the clutch. But listen to this. This is a bearing right here. See if I can get this set up. It should not be making that noise. So I got to check this bearing. This has some bearings on it here that I need to check. We'll pull this clutch off. Man, I was hoping I'd have a little bit more room when I push this back. But I think I'm out of room back here. Alright. So, see if I can find somewhere for this light. This is the bearing we just pulled off. Now you got two more bearings on this right here. That one barely turns. And this one doesn't turn at all. I don't know if you can just replace the bearings or if you have to replace this whole piece. The video I watched, the guy replaced the whole thing, so this should just pull off of here like that. Probably need to get one of those ordered. His broke here. One of these balls broke off. I need to replace this airline while I'm in here and these fittings. And then I gotta pull this off. This thing's pretty heavy, so you gotta... This thing is no joke. So I'll have to be careful when I gotta take this thing off. It'll be in one of the bottom drawers. Are you sure you're looking at the 1/2 inch sizes?
I don't know how you tell what that.
You look at, look. See where the thing goes in?
Uh-huh.
This is 3/8. So it'll be bigger. It'll be, let me see. Yeah. Is that 16?
No, it's a half. It's a half.
Okay, I need a 16
Yeah,
millimeter.
I know.
And it's gone? Let me see if I put it over here.
I think so.
I'm a little worried for my legs because this thing is like 50 pounds. That's definitely got some weight to it. Man, that sumbitch is heavy. I don't know what to do. Or if I let it like lean to me. Fucking flashlight, man. You see that light? Whew.
What you doing, Peppers? Huh? What you doing? Yeah? Alright guys, a little bit of an update. So the day before yesterday, we got the clutch pulled out of the truck. Now there's Mackey's. We got the clutch pulled out of the truck. Spent all day... Let's see, I ordered a clutch. Let's see, we got the clutch pulled out. I'm getting my timeline messed up here. Anyways, we went to Worldwide, which is a truck place here in Valdosta. First we went to Fleet Pride. Fleet Pride does not have this clutch. So then we went to Worldwide. Worldwide has this clutch for $3,300. So I jumped on the internet and I found one for $1,400. I paid $200 for overnight shipping. That was supposed to be in yesterday. UPS said it was out for delivery, never showed up. Now it's saying it's going to be here Wednesday. So it's like, why did I pay UPS $200 for overnight shipping if you guys in fact did not overnight ship it? And then this is called a yoke. You cannot replace the bearings on this yoke. You have to buy a whole new yoke. So I was looking for this. I couldn't really, I found it on Find It Parts, I think was the name. And I was about to click checkout. And then it said that it wasn't going to, and I was paying for overnight on this as well. I was about to click checkout with overnight shipping. But then I noticed it said, so I had this ordered and there's something called a release bearing, which I have in the computer room. That basically this rides up against the computer, tells like an air solenoid in there to push this, which pushes against your release bearing, which I believe, I don't want to flip this over, but it pushes on those tines, and that's what releases the clutch. But I went to go click checkout, and then it said it wasn't going to be here till like June 3rd, I think. And I'm like, why? I'm paying overnight shipping. And then it's got like a little asterisk or something that says this ships from a different company, and it usually takes a couple days for them to actually ship it. It was like, but yeah, you guys were going to charge me overnight shipping, but I wasn't going to get overnight. So anyways, I ended up finding the release bearing, which was $350. I ended up finding it on eBay. Somebody had one for $60. So we got that ordered, and then I was just about to buy one of these off of eBay for $200, but then the guy wanted $200 to overnight ship that. And I said, I called back up Worldwide where we were going to order the clutch, and Worldwide had it for like $315. So that was yesterday at like 11:45, and they're closed until Tuesday. But she says if you pay with this over the phone, I can hide it outside, and then you can come pick it up after we've closed. So I paid for that, and there's a little bearing on the end of the input shaft that I'm going to replace. So I paid for that. Me and Lita ran up there. They forgot to put it outside. So now we have to wait for Tuesday to go pick that up. Oh, what a mess. Lita ran up and got the pilot bearing. We got a new pilot bearing. They had that in stock at Fleet Pride, so she went ahead and picked that up. I picked up a bearing puller, and I picked up a bearing race and seal driver set from Harbor Freight. So basically, we're kind of dead in the water here, thanks to UPS and thanks to Worldwide for not leaving this out. So now we're stuck at a point where there's really nothing I can do other than installing the pilot bearing. I may go ahead and do that today, but we're dead in the water until, because Monday is a holiday, everything's screwed up. So what a freaking mess. And I'm not talking about the state of my shop or the state of the inside of the truck here, because that's kind of a mess too. So, man, I'm stuck. Like you pay all this money for like overnight shipping, and then these companies drop the ball. So pretty much we're stuck until at least Tuesday, even though UPS says that the clutch won't be here till Wednesday now. Anyways, that's the situation out here. I can't seem to catch a freaking break. I may go ahead and do the pilot bearing. I'm going to go stick this bearing in the freezer and get it ready for when I do pull that out. So this is a pretty nice kit though. Basically it comes with all these different sizes depending on what size bearing you have. And what you do is you screw this in or out, and then it spreads these tines so that it can actually, so you slip it in and then you screw it down, and then that spreads these tines, and then that would grab the edge of the bearing, and then you screw the slide hammer on there, and then you can just slide hammer the bearing out. I'm not used to having the actual tools that you use for, look at my hair, that you use for, you know, I'm used to like beating the stuff out with a hammer and everything else. Airbags are empty. Airbags are empty. So what's going on with that? I mean, I have all the air drained out of the truck, but what's really going on? Anyways, that's just a quick update. We're kind of screwed. I will be contacting the place that I paid overnight shipping for and demanding a refund on paying for that. I understand it's not their fault, but maybe they can go after UPS and get me my $200 overnight shipping cost back. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It kind of sucks that you can't replace these bearings because it does have a little C-clip in here that you should be able to remove that C-clip, pop that rod out, and then replace this bearing. That bearing is completely locked. This one turns a little bit. Ooh, you can see there's like a flat spot worn into this. Yeah, this one's completely locked. I can tell you, I don't think I really talked about it, but getting to a couple of these bolts in this transmission is no freaking joke. It probably took us maybe 3 hours to get 4 of the hardest bolts out of this transmission. So there's just no room in there for a ratchet. So I broke up my air ratchet, and that did help a little bit. But having to drag that hose around was kind of a pain in the butt. So I ordered a battery-powered ratchet, and then I bought another ratchet I'll have to show you guys when we go to do this that like folds up and does like all kinds of crazy stuff. Because there's a couple of those bolts that are no joke. I don't know how they put them in from the factory, but it was not fun. Like my arm, I don't know if it's going to show up, but my arm is completely bruised right here. From reaching down in there and having a finagle. I mean, you can see I'm all cut up. It wasn't fun. Anyways, I'm going to throw this bearing in the freezer, and then maybe after a couple hours of it being in the freezer, I'll come out here and pop that bearing out. We'll get the pilot bearing replaced. I'm really dead in the water here. There's nothing else I can do. All right. You got yours going?
Yeah.
Lita and I just got done putting up all the old lights from the shop. The main purpose for this is I'm trying to do away with the flickering in the videos, but a little brightness in these corners would be nice too. Can you hold both of these maybe? I'm using both cameras because one of them does it worse than the other. So for now, I'm just going to plug them into the wall, but when we move the truck, I'll plug them into the sockets so the lights can pass through so that they just come on.
Yeah.
It's bright in here, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, no more like shadows in the corners. Wow, that's awesome. All right, what we'll do is we'll go pull that footage off and stick it in the Filmora. All right, let's see if we can get the pilot bearing pulled while we wait on our parts. I mean, this still spins. It's not completely flush with this. But there's no better time than now to go ahead and get this replaced. I grabbed the wrong one. Grabbed the wrong one. I gotta go grab the other one. Whoops. I still have the new bearing in the freezer. So I'll have to run and grab that after we get this one pulled. just like that. Oh, you can see this, no, that's just grease. I was gonna say, you can see the seal got really hot and melted, but that is just grease. All right, let me go grab the new bearing out of the freezer. Honestly, what I should do is I should get in here with my shop vac. Shop vac all of this out, because it is dusty. And I don't want that stuff interfering with any of the new parts yet. So let me go grab the shop vac. All right. Bearing fresh out the freezer. There you have it. Pilot bearings in. We just gotta wait on the clutch and everything else. All right, it's Tuesday now. We got almost a dead battery on here. I forgot to charge it. Anyways, Worldwide called me at 7 o'clock this morning and apologized for not having the parts out. So we ran up and we got the parts. This is the Yoke, and this is the, they call this an input shaft repair kit. I thought it was another bearing, but looking at it, it's just like a sleeve that goes into the pilot bearing itself. Supposedly our clutch is out for delivery again today. I don't know, I guess we'll have to see about that. Oh, we should pull this yoke out and take a look at the bearings. See how freely these bearings are actually supposed to move. Let's see, I had to put a new roof on the chicken coop. I went ahead and put some metal sheets up there because we lost our tarp roof during a storm we had the other day. Let's see, is this thing gonna open up? Slides out the end here. Alright, so that's our new yoke. Those don't spin at all, Lita.
Oh yeah. Maybe our yoke.
Maybe they're not supposed to spin.
Yeah. Maybe that's why ours is bad.
I thought those were bearings, man. Those don't spin at all. Huh. That might have been some wasted money right there.
One of them does spin.
I know. Let's see. So Lita's looking for our airline in here because I need to replace the airline, and I might go ahead and replace the fittings inside the transmission. And then while I'm under there, I want to go ahead and replace, there's two little fittings on the air dryer that were leaking before. Since I put these lights up, I had one of these lights underneath of the truck while I was working, but now I've just been using this under hood light under here. So I need to get under there and replace that. I'm gonna go ahead and look at that. I want to look at that piece, the because we may not replace that, because it's not an easy thing to replace. But we'll get this airline off. We'll get those fittings off. Maybe I should just go ahead and replace those fittings. And then I'll pull those other 2 fittings off. We need to run back up to the store and get 4, probably 1/4 inch. No, I need the airline, not the fittings. The plastic tube. Black plastic tube. No, I know I don't have the fittings in that. Let's see. Do I have any of that airline out here? No, I think it's all in the truck. All right, so let me go under there. We'll check out these this airline. I'll go ahead and pull that airline off for sure, and pull those other fittings off. All right, apologies. I went under there while this thing charged to see how hard it was going to be to get off, and I just ended up getting it off. So basically, it's got these little indentions here. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, and that allows you to get like a little. I put a little pry bar in there. There's one on the other side. While I was testing to see how hard it was to get off, I broke it and I was like, well, now I have to get it off. But you can see it's kind of, I don't know if it's been spinning inside the bearing or if that's just like heat. But there's a little ledge. There's a little, like a sharp edge right here where, I mean, you can kind of, I don't know if the camera's going to pick up on it, but it looks like this was spinning inside the bearing, because there's an indentation along this edge, and it's kind of sharp and indented on this edge. So I got a couple of different little pry bars, and I just kept slowly turning and prying to a point where I could get the pry bar between this and the transmission, and then I just slowly turned and pried until it ended up popping off. So it comes with a little bearing that goes down inside this groove. So I need to grab a little bit of grease, as they say to put a little dab of grease in there to hold it. Look there. While you tap the new one on. So let me get under here. I'll get you guys set it up. We'll tap this thing back on, and we'll be good to go. Oh, Lita also noticed, and I noticed in the guy's video that I watched too, that the design has changed on this, but we were worried that the measurements were off, but I checked everything. Everything is exactly how it's supposed to be. Everything's... Ooh, look, these are wider too. Those aren't as wide. She also Googled, these are not supposed to spin, so me having one spin, which one was spinning, isn't a good thing. So we've already bought it, we might as well put it in. That's one of the pieces that we were waiting for them to put outside. All right, let me get under here. Oh, I got the air hose line off. And the fittings, do these have O-rings? That looks like it has an O-ring. Those definitely have O-rings. I don't know if they're gonna have those in stock. All right, let me get under here to set you guys up, and we'll get this thing on. I'm gonna take my dab of grease and put it down in this groove. Man, I should clean that up a little bit. Lita, are you there? Lita, yeah. You grab me a rag? I wanna clean this up a little bit. Oh, I'm probably blocking you guys here. Not much under here is magnetic where I can stick you guys. Thank you, Babs. Oh, I just wiped my grease off.
You what?
I had a little bit of grease on my finger on purpose.
You wiped it off?
And when I grabbed the rag, it wiped it off.
I'm taking the laundry out of the truck.
Okay. Get this nice and cleaned up. The video I watched, the guy cut it off with a I don't know if he used like a die grinder or a Dremel or what, but he cut his off. It didn't show. His camera died at this point too, which is weird. All right, so we got a little bit of grease in there. We've got our repair kit here. And then there's a bearing in here. Oh, also, in order to get this off, there's a snap ring inside. Super simple to get off. There's a snap ring like this. And all I did was took a little hook, and all you do is hook it and then drag it around and it pulls out. That's super, super easy to get out. All right, so we're gonna put our bearing in here. That grease should hold it. Line this up. Are we lined up? I'm going to tap it on with a rubber mallet. I need to make sure this is lined up. Yeah. Okay, so a 17mm socket fits in this thing perfectly. Might as well throw that can in the trash. Is that a truck out there? Maybe that's the clutch. Oh, maybe it is the garbage truck. Alright. I don't know if you guys could see with where the camera was, but a 17mm socket fits in here perfectly. There's like a little ledge that this ring needs to ride in, which we need to remember to install. I was able to get it on until the socket started hitting this, and then I just took that piece of wood and finished smacking it on a little bit. So now we'll get this little snap ring installed. Get
God, there's just nowhere under here to stick this camera. I'm pretty sure that pin that's in there needs to be pushed back all the way in order for this thing to sit in there properly. So I gotta find something to tap that in with. I thought I had a little screwdriver under here.
There was one. It was like a handled one. Might be under your creeper now.
It's probably under the creeper. Holy shit, a big spider.
Oh yeah.
Do you see it?
No.
Oh, maybe it landed under the wood board when I threw it under. Where it's crawling up my leg right now. It's gonna give me superpowers.
I don't see a spider under that board.
All right, easy enough, pins in. Now, take a ring. See if we can get this thing started. Yep. Just go around and push this thing in like that. Come on, baby. All right, there it is. That is done. Yeah, you can see it has, I hope you can see, it's got these little flat spots right here, and I just started to gently pry it out, and then I would turn it, pry a little bit, turn it back, pry it a little bit. I mean, you can see I didn't damage the gear. Just don't go crazy with it. And then as soon as this sleeve separated from this, then I started getting on the back side of that and prying it like that. So now we gotta go get these air fittings with the line. I'm gonna go ahead and get the air fittings for the air dryer, and then we just have to wait on the clutch. The only other thing that we're gonna have to wait on is the release bearing. I'm not sure when that's gonna be here. So let me run and grab these fittings and this air hose. We can go ahead and get those installed. It kind of looks like maybe it's not air, maybe it's oil, because there's oil in that. Maybe it shoots transmission fluid between these two and it's not an air thing, because there's definitely oil up in there. All right, we'll be back. All right, so I just got back from Fleet Pride. Fleet Pride does not sell the fittings that go into the transmission. They claim that these are metric here. And I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a little rubber O-ring on here. They do not sell these. And they don't sell the hose by the foot. I'd have had to buy a 50-foot. The smallest section of hose they have is 50 feet, and it was like 50 bucks. So I ran over to Napa, and they sell it by the foot. I think this was like $3. So we're gonna use the same fittings that we had. It is now 3 o'clock. UPS just dropped our clutch off. I don't know if I explained this, but when you look up this part number, probably 90% of people sell this kit with what's called a release bearing, our release bearing is like, it sounds like it's grinding metal in there. So after I'd already ordered this, I started freaking out and I looked. It did not show the release bearing with this kit. So I ordered that. But I'm gonna cut this thing open now. We're gonna see if this thing comes with the release bearing. Worst case scenario, we can sell the release bearing or whatever we have to do. Caution, heavy package over 70 pounds. I hope it comes with the release bearing because the tracking for the release bearing that I bought hasn't been updated. The holiday, Memorial Day, really messed up shipping. I know, I'm complaining. I'm not complaining about Memorial Day. I'm complaining I didn't know it was Memorial Day when I decided to do all this. Anyways, let's bust this thing open. Hopefully it has the release bearing. Hey.
Progressive is on the phone.
What's up?
Talk to you.
Okay. Oh, about these parts. Alright, good news and bad news. We're getting more for the car than what we thought. The bad news is we have to drive to Albany and turn the title in. Anyways, this is the clutch. I am not seeing I'm not seeing a bearing in here. So I am interested to see what a brand new clutch looks like compared to the old one. Let me cut this open. All right, so the old clutch isn't as worn as I thought it would be. But the springs might be worn, or the mating surface might be worn. I probably need to take some brake part cleaner to this. Yeah, I was thinking these grooves, that's got a little bit of a red tint to it too. I don't know if that'll show up on camera. I was thinking these grooves right here would be deeper. Old one's over here in a wheelbarrow. Hopefully this fan ain't too loud. It is hot in here. Ah, it's definitely worn. This is worn almost all the way flush. It's definitely worn down more than I realized. Yeah. All right, so, well, Lita's making me lunch. After lunch, we will start putting this in. All right, so Lita went to go get some brake parts cleaner so we can clean that flywheel up before we install this. The alignment tool for this thing is like $500. The guy's video that I watched stuck a 7/8 socket onto an extension and then wrapped cardboard around it. I'm gonna do mine a little bit differently. I found that a 32mm socket fits in here perfectly, and then the 7/8 side fits into the pilot bearing perfectly. So I stuck the 32 on the end of a small extension, and then I just kind of tapped this 7/8 onto this onto this extension like this. So I'm gonna go under there and stick it on and see if this is gonna work. I think it is gonna work. The only thing that might be different is I might have to beat this socket on a little bit more, but I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Yeah. All right. So the 7/8 will go into your pilot bearing like that, and then the clutch will go on top of this. Let me go grab the clutch. All right. Now, before anybody starts crying about this and saying you got to use the proper alignment tool, basically, if you don't get this clutch lined up properly, it's not going to go on, because these splines right here will go directly into this clutch. So, short side goes in like this. Alright, so we got to beat that socket on a little bit more, because it's not sitting on the socket anymore. So let me pull this out. We'll tap this in more. Also, we can swap this socket around like that. Maybe we'll just do that. Short side in. Oh, boom. Look at that, huh? That's gonna be nice. And then when you're done, you can just reach in there and pull that out. We just gotta wait on Lita to get back with the brake parts cleaner. Alright, so we got the flywheel cleaned up. Or the, yeah, I guess that's a flywheel on the clutch there. So that is in the middle. So it comes with these little studs that stick out, and it looks like that'll go in the middle of each one of these three. So I need to turn that to where that lines up in each of the third or each of the middle hole. I think the thing to do is to pick this thing up and set it here and then rotate it where we need it. Oh my gosh. Set that there. We need to
Make sure these are going to be lined up. Take a pry bar and lift it up off the bottom. See if we can get that go on there. Come on, baby. It's so heavy.
Where does the piece go that we're waiting for?
On up against the yoke. The yoke is what pushes on that bearing, and that bearing pushes on these clutch tines. Make sure these are running a few threads. I don't need this thing falling on me.
Was it bad lifting that up in there?
It wasn't fun. It wasn't like it was with a clutch in it though.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't know you were putting it in. I was just trying to get dinner started.
Do you see that black case right there? It's got the torque wrench in it. So it says run fasteners down to contact head of fastener with clutch cover. Okay, I didn't quite do that. Make sure they all touch this case. Poquito más. All right, those are all down. Install 10 flange bolts by hand. Use M10 times 1.5 length. Specific by OEM. Minimum class, blah, blah, blah. Run fasteners down to contact head of fastener with clutch cover. Do not exceed 4 pounds. Remove the lifting device from the clutch. And install fasteners in place of lifting device. Replace alignment dowels with 2 fasteners. What does that mean? Oh, because I guess you would normally take 2 of these out and then install your lift. I have sweat just running off of me. I think I'm gonna need to book a cruise after this, Babs.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see, where can I put this at? That is all up in my way. Alright, after this, remove lifting device from clutch, blah, blah, blah. Torque fasteners in a cross pattern beginning with fastener closest to 6 o'clock, which is 1. Position torque to 54 to 67 Newton meters or 40 to 50 foot-pounds. Get a torque wrench out. I like to go in the middle, so we're gonna go, oh, you know what? I need, I forgot this is 3/4. That's a 17. Is there a 3/4 16 millimeter in the blue toolbox? That's 50. Look in the top of my black toolbox at the end of the wooden table that I built and see if there's a small 1/2-inch extension. Yeah, 1 torque sequence of 40 to 50 foot-pounds. So let's bump this up to 50 and do it all over again, I guess, since I did 45. So that's going to be 50 right there. So we'll go back down to number 1. All right. So now what we have to do, and unfortunately, because my camera overheated, you have to take a punch, and there's going to be these holes marked with this line. You have to go in through here with this punch, and you have to hit these little flippers. basically that locks the clutch onto this housing with these little flippers that are in there. And I can show you on the other clutch when I come out. So yeah, so now I'm gonna take I got a little punch and it says to use a small hammer. And there's a little flipper in there that you have to tap on. So it wants you to go in and go through this hole to tap this copper bar right here, this right here, until it goes in and makes contact with the flywheel. All right, so clutch is in. We're just waiting on the release bearing to show up now, and then we can get this thing in. One other thing that we have to do is we have to pull this, there's a clutch adjuster I'll show you guys on the transmission that we have to pull out and reset and then reinstall. So we'll wait on that other piece to come in and we'll get all that reset. All right, I lied. I went ahead and took it out. Just in case there was something wrong with it, I wanted to have time to go order another one. But basically with this rod needs to be pushed in all the way in order for it to do like a factory reset of the transmission. So what you want to do is stick this on the ground like this and then push down with both hands. My other camera is still inside. Let me see if I can do it with this one. All right, I went and grabbed the other camera because I couldn't hold my iPhone and show you guys this at the same time. So you're gonna want to just take both hands and push this thing down all the way in. Till it locks like that. And then when you turn the truck on, so this goes into that yoke on one side. That goes into the yoke on one side. And what happens, pretty sure it's this side. Maybe it is the smaller side. But it uses air. It uses air and it pushes this out, which pushes on the yoke, which pushes on the bearing that we're waiting on, which then pushes on the tongues of the clutch anytime it goes to shift. So now that this is pushed in, it should be good to go. And we'll just wait on that bearing. All right, new release bearing just showed up. I was looking at this thing, I'm like, I think they sent me the wrong bearing. And the more I look, I don't know if this is going to show up on camera, but this bearing is basically flat to this, and it looks wider. But what's happened is it's worn this bearing down flat. You can see this one sticks up above, and it's more cone shaped on the top. And it doesn't spin like that one does. It's nice and tight. So, man, that thing was slap. Listen to that. Holy smokes. So, we got to get back underneath the truck. I've got to reinstall the new hose we bought for it. We got to put our yoke back on. We got to put the clutch release back in, and then we can slide this release bearing on. All right. So this clutch activator is held in by 4 of these star bolts. I think it's let's see what size this is. A T45, and it's got an air port right here that goes to the top. I don't think you can mess this up. slide that in like that. And then 4 bolts, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Now we'll stick our air fittings back in. You give me some zip ties, Babs?
Yeah. Little ones?
Yeah, some of the smaller ones. And then that's supposed to zip tie to that. Next is our yoke. And then our release bearing. And this thing has these 2 flat spots on both sides, and you want those flat spots to go against these, I don't know what you'd call these, they're not bearings. Looks like you can't mess it up because there's this flat spot here, so it won't let you have this out of clocked. As long as those are touching there in that hump, you should be good. Get these splines cleaned up, and then we'll try to poke this transmission back in.
Want me up top or what?
I don't know. Maybe. Can you see more up top?
Not really. Doesn't matter.
I need you to move these boards in front of this jack.
Hold on. You got this fucking piece of shit in front of here too.
Tell me when I can start going in. Can I go in a little now?
I mean, you can go in a little bit. I won't go much more because we're not near that hole yet. Push it in a little more. All right.
All right, guys. We ran into a few issues. So basically, when we went to take this thing out, I didn't have this transmission jack far enough back. And the bad thing, the thing about that is you don't know if it's back far enough until you actually take the transmission out. So what was happening is we were trying to put this in, and the back of this transmission was leaning down real hard. So I was like, I'll just pick up the back of the transmission and try to slide it in there. This transmission's 700 pounds, and I could not do it. So what we did was we stacked a bunch of blocks, wood blocks, underneath the front here. And then I took a jack and stuck a board underneath of that. And then I jacked the transmission up off of this. Slid these boards back as far as I can. And this transmission jack, you can adjust this plate forward to back. So I adjusted this plate down pretty hard to try to get the back end up. We ended up throwing 2 ratchet straps around it. And then after lots and lots and lots of fighting, we finally got this thing to go and to give us a gap about that big. Now there's a ring in here that fits inside. There's a ring off of the transmission lip that fits inside the engine case. And we fought and fought and fought and tried to get that to go in there. So what I ended up doing is, it's still not completely snugged up either, but it's good enough for now. But what I ended up doing is I took this plate off of the side, and I bought one of these a long time ago, where, let's see, you can turn this thing on, and then it's got this little lead right here, and the camera sees whatever that sees. See? So you could stick it up your nose, you could stick it up your butt. But what I did was I stuck it up in here, and I made sure that the splines of the transmission were actually lined up with the splines on the clutch, and it was. But I think the tolerances on this was just so dang tight. Without like smacking it with something hard, we couldn't get it to quite go in. So I just went around and I took a couple of bolts and I would just slowly tighten it all the way around the case until where we're at now. So basically we can drop this transmission jack now. I'll probably go ahead and hook the drive shaft up. I don't know if I talked about that either, but when I disconnected this drive shaft, I took the carrier bearing off because I didn't want all of that weight pulling down on that carrier bearing for as long as what we've had. So I disconnected it from the carrier bearing. We've got some ratchet straps back here. Holding up the back of that part of that drive shaft so that we're not putting a lot of stress on this carrier bearing. So we can drop this transmission jack down now. I got to take this last ratchet strap off of here. I might end up having to cut it because these wires are in the way. Man, it just does not want to release. This thing comes with a chain. The chain isn't long enough to go around this transmission. I'll be honest with you, I bought the 800 pound one for an extra $100. I think there's a 2,000 pound one. If I had it to do all over again, I'd probably do the 2,000 pound one. I was like, this transmission's only like 650 pounds. That should be good. But it just didn't feel very stable at times when we were trying to push it in. All right, let me get this cut. We'll get this drive shaft put on, and then we'll tighten up these, finish tightening up these transmission bolts. I've got to finish hook. I got to hook the air back up. I got to plug the plugs back in. I got to zip tie all of these back to these things. Another thing I did that I forgot to talk about, when I disconnected the drive shaft from this side, I ran a paint line from the cap here. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick up on it, but I got a white line from there to the side that it's on, in case this thing was balanced weird. I don't know. You just never know. All right, transmission's bolted in. Seats aren't in yet. We haven't put that cover back on. I just want to start this truck. Oh, I don't know if I showed this, but I bought this, it's a CC. Torque Test channel did a review on this thing. This thing is, I think I spent 80 bucks on it. That's a must have if you're gonna do this, or something like that. All right, let me open this door. The truck doesn't have any air in it, so it's gonna have to go some air.
Yeah, you got that ladder right there.
Oh.
Junk out of the way. Guess I could be doing this while the car's here. Alright. Let's see what happens here. Hey, Peppers! Alright, let me see that thing. Let's see if we still have a transmission fault on here. It may take it airing up to actually go away. Turn our batteries on. I think I have everything done.
Oh, you had to do something in the computer.
No, I did. There's a reset. I already did that. CC, that's what it's supposed to say. And then that should go away after it airs up. All right. We'll be back when it airs up. Neutral, so it's done calibrating. It was making some clicking noises. That stopped.
Let's see if this thing will move under its own power. Can you close your door? It won't release the parking brake if the passenger door is open. I want to run you over. Oh, it's moving. Whee! Move those wooden boards for me in front. Goes back to neutral. Back to drive. And we're moving. All right. Fantastic. So, what I want to do now, we've got a big air fitting under here that screws into the transmission. I want to take some soapy water and spray it on that before we put this cover back on. And then we'll put the cover back on, fold this rubber mat back over. Actually, we need to clean up. And then we'll fold this rubber mat back over, install the seats. And it's raining pretty good right now. Maybe the rain will stop by the time we're done. Take this thing for a spin.
What's up?
Nothing.
Should we show him the freaking hairball underneath
This ain't it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't show him the actual hairball she pulled out. What's up, Peppers? Here's a hairball she pulled out from underneath the dash. I think the guy had a husky or something. Or some nasty lot lizards. Oh man, we got so many tools to put up. I just want to emphasize this. I am not a mechanic. I do not know what I'm doing. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. And honestly, if I didn't have a YouTube channel and I had to do this all over again, if that guy would have actually only charged us $4,000 to $5,000, I'd have probably done it. Looking back, I probably didn't need to replace the yoke. Figured since we're in there, we might as well. The bearings were definitely bad. It was a lot of work. I don't think the camera's going to justify the amount of work that it took to put that clutch in, especially putting the transmission in. Lining that transmission up was by far,
I didn't want to say nothing.
by far the worst part of this whole thing. Would it be better if we had that other transmission jack? I don't know. But it was a freaking nightmare, guys.
Maybe a little bit better, but we still would have had a lineup for sure.
That little camera with the little snake thing came in handy. All right, we're gonna put these seats back in. Looks like the rain's starting to stop. Probably take this thing down the road. I tried to look. I didn't see that there was any like break-in period for this clutch. I think it said just don't drive like an idiot. And we'll see what happens. I got some price on some tires. We might be going and getting some tires put on this thing. Yeah, let me get these seats back in and get this mess cleaned up. All right, truck is back together. Let's go on a test drive.
it even doing out?
That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching.